Trying to prove they're a serious party, the Greens have turned to prop comedy.
Did you know that this election you can vote for dental into Medicare?
Oh my God, Adam Bant is tiny. This election, the Greens are under the influence, and Abby Chatfield wants to show that it's easy to be Green.
Vote 1, Greens. How was that? Was that okay?
That was brilliant. That was great.
Authorised by Jay McCall, Australian Greens, Canberra.
It was actually authorised by Adam Bant right there. Abby hosted this very Green party. Wow, a leader that DJs, they really are different from Labor. You know what would get this party started?
'Cause Albo's gotta leave. Albo's gotta leave.
Hannah, can Abby influence an election?
Absolutely. I think that the role of people like Abby Chatfield, Abby's a mate of mine, and I think that the new media content creators, or influencers as Murdoch likes to call us, we have a lot of impact this election because Gen Z and millennials are the biggest voting bloc. And what Abby's doing is she's not going to get the Greens into majority government, but she is going to educate a lot of low information voters about preferential voting and the idea that you can put the Greens first and that won't actually impact your ultimate vote if you do want to land with Labor.
Abby is going to work. The Greens, I think, are going to do really well on Saturday evening with under 35, and not just because of Abby, but I think because they can say, you know what, we're going to have dental is part of Medicare. Well, yeah, that seems like a good idea. We're going to forgive HEX. Gee whiz, that seems like a really good idea if you're under 35. We're going to make sure that supermarkets can't price gouge. Geez, I like the sound of that as well. If you just go through, you know, the list of their agenda items, they all sound pretty damn good. When you're under 35 in particular, the great thing about being a Green is that there's no scrutiny. Right? So you have a debate on 7, 9 and the ABC, and you've got Dutton there and you've got Albo there, and they've got to debate their policies. They are heavily scrutinised. Well, that's not really the case for the Greens, is it?
So each year they write saying, please let us be in your debate.
Yeah.
But well, they don't get in.
Well, perhaps after Saturday they will be in the next debate. I'm not knocking them. That's just what they are, and that's the position that they find themselves in, that they can have very attractive strategies which are going to be very attractive to under 35, plus add in a bit of Abby Chatfield and 500,000 followers, and you can see it being good advertising.
Yeah, I mean, just to believe that we are smarter than influencers means we're kind of destined to be ruled by dumber people. Just because Abby Chatfield sells vibrators or butt plugs or whatever does not mean that she can't sell political ideas, and she does. They're called influencers for a reason, because their reach and impact is huge, particularly podcast influencers, because podcasts have out-mainstreamed mainstream media. When you think about it, you look at Biden on Smartless, Trump on Rogan. These are not, why pay for a 30-second ad when you could have a 2-hour ad? Would you rather be grilled by Sarah Ferguson or hugged by Abby Chatfield?
I don't think it's a hug, though, and I also think this is the first time our country's ever seen politics made hot. I think in the US it is like a fun conversation where celebrities get involved, but this is the first federal election in Australia where people are actually excited and think it's cool to get engaged.
Yes.
And, you know, it used to be that it's the young libs and young Labor, and I cover my drinks around them. You know, I don't want to be around those people. They're weird. You know, get away from me at a party. Sorry, got to say that for the jury.
Yeah.
But I think that Abby Chatfield and other influencers in this space are saying it is cool to care. We expect that you wear your values on your sleeve and you communicate with your friends and family about it. And that's one of the most powerful parts of this conversation.
I agree with you, but majority of the influencers are not journalists. And people are willing to go on these programs because they know they're not journalists. And they know that they're going to get softballed. And that's okay. That's because that's the medium. The problem is that medium is growing at and more influential at a faster rate than journalists are and mainstream media.
I have heard, though, that it's easier to turn a softball into a hardball.
That is true.
Yeah, the 2025 election campaign is about influencers and the use of influencers. That has been the big difference. But the thing also about Abby is she has thrown a lot of light on Adam. He's a very earnest person. And she's bringing something else to his brand that he couldn't have done on his own.
She does add a lot of cool, because I've got to say, when I see Adam walking around with that giant toothbrush, it is embarrassing. But then I saw her dancing with the toothbrush at the the party, and I was like, that looked cool.
Is the toothbrush stronger than the petrol Bowser?
Definitely.
Well, the toothbrush gave Adam his only front page story
That's right.
of this election campaign.
Yeah.
Him with the toothbrush worked. He wouldn't have liked that. Like he'd need to be encouraged into doing things like that. They're gimmicky, but it actually does work. The Greens get the most media coverage when they're talking about being part of an incoming government. So they've got to constantly be chasing what, that positive message and that, as part of a minority government, because that's what gives them media coverage.
I was just thinking there was a Bruce Willis movie.
Were you the villain in it?
There's a Bruce Willis movie with a kid in it, and he says, "I see dead people."
Oh, yeah.
And
I've got a sixth sense, I know where you're going.
that's the one. And at the end, it was, you work out Bruce Willis has been dead all through the movie, but he just didn't realise. And I reckon that's the two-party system. I reckon it's Bruce Willis. It's dead, but it just hasn't realised it yet.
Yeah.
It's been collapsing for 2 decades, and it's pretty much dead.